What's going on, guys? We got a special edition today. Maronoff and my co-pilot from Real Estate Recovery Group is Leah, much like Prince and Madonna. And today we're going to be covering something that's very disturbing, and I guess there's two different ways you could play with it. You can either hope or it's going to be horror. So COVID-19, the Mortgage Relief Act. And the topic this morning, the special edition that we're so glad that you guys came on to make it, hope or horror. So, Leah, give us an idea of what is really going on, because obviously we are getting a shit load of phone calls from people that are freaking out of, what's next?
Well, right now we are seeing that the 60 days that were first initially mentioned, sorry guys, I'm kind of off kilter today, are supposed to end on the 18th of May, which is 13 days away. A lot of people are wanting to know, what do I do now? So each moratorium for each specific state kind of varies state by state. Some states have implemented that after the state of emergency is ended, which would be technically May 18th, there is an additional 60 days thereafter. Some states don't tell you anything. But for lack of a better term, if you haven't figured out what you're going to do with your mortgage situation by now, I don't know what to tell you, other than you're going to be in a lot of trouble if you haven't figured something out by now. I do know that we have sale dates that are popping up. Our processor will... He goes through on the weekly basis and reviews to see what files have sale dates, which ones don't. And now we're starting to see a lot of sale dates in June. So I have sellers that are sitting on their hands because they were referred to us by a diligent agent. They were referred to us by a diligent attorney, saying, "Hey, we got to get this going. You got an opportunity to finish this up. We're everything's at a stay. We can move forward with doing a short sale, doing your loan mod." And so I was like, "Oh, you know what? We got time." Now you don't. So, it's about to be mass chaos and very, very busy for all of us here soon.
So, Leah, the one thing that I know that I'm concerned with is that, we've gotten some fallout on some short sales that we've had.
Yeah.
And tell everybody a little bit about the fallout, the issues that we're having, and why there's fallout, and why there may actually be opportunities for other people because of it.
So prior to COVID-19, we were on a closing train. Basically, we had been closing on average about 2 closings every 2 weeks, as roughly what it was going starting at the beginning of the year. These were a lot of files that we'd been fighting for quite some time, and approval letters were generated right around the Christmas holiday. So, of course, nobody wants to close at Christmas. So we were having closings set up, and as closings were happening, more approval letters were coming. Right before the virus kind of took over, we had a scheduled of 8 approvals for closings to transpire by today. Actually, today was one of the last ones. Actually, by May 15th was actually the very, very last one. Unfortunately, though, 6 of those buyers walked. A lot of them did stall tactics using COVID-19. Some of them just disappeared. We don't really know what happened. Hopefully they didn't get sick. Even their attorneys aren't even hearing from them. And then in some situations, they were like, I'm going to wait until this becomes cheaper in the market. Sorry, guys, I'm not that kind of negotiator. I'm not here for the best opportunity for the buyer. I'm here for the best opportunity for the seller. So RRG, we are going to keep moving. And those 8 files, now some of them unfortunately don't have new buyers yet. One of them actually was a great opportunity that was taken over. One of my investors actually happened upon it, and he was like, "Hey, is this yours? I see your verbiage." And now he's getting ready to go to closing here in the next 15, 20 days. So one person's loss is another person's gain, that's for sure. And forgive me because I have not been following what the mortgage interest rate has been looking at, but what I'm watching with the GSEs, and this is probably going to be imperative later on. So the GSEs, which are the Fannie and the Freddie, the government secured enterprises, they are currently allowing the servers, they told the servicers to prepay them for 4 months of their servicing fees. And then they are supposed to be putting that money to being paid out to their private investors. And then the remaining time frame, Fannie and Freddie have vouched that they're going to foot the bill, basically. All right, great. Sounds awesome. Sounds like they're going to do something good for their private investors and the people that they're trustees. However, stuff rolls downhill, right? What's going to wind up happening is that later on down the line, there are going to be some enforcements, and it's going to happen to the little guy, right? So you're looking at, I mean, even with FHA is getting ready to tighten up their lending practices. You know, once upon a time, you only needed a 620 to get a mortgage. Now that's not going to be the case. It's going to go up. I mean, I'm still looking and researching to see when the all reg and the mortgage leader is going to come out stating exactly what their new requirements are for mortgage lending. But that's going to hit a lot of the working class, because most of the working class, like including myself, we're FHA holders. So if I don't have like pristine 700 credit, are you telling me that I don't deserve a house? So there's that. Market itself, as far as inventory, it will be flooded. It will be saturated with foreclosure. These forbearances, you know, they're not a Band-Aid, right? They're not a cure-all. They're a Band-Aid, right? Exactly.
Well, basically what this is, guys, I hate to tell you, this is literally 2009 all over again.
Yeah.
And
it's, yeah.
The banks are in business to make money. So they're going to make money one way or another. I mean, they're talking about selling off chocks, blocks of loans. So very similar to what happened, you know, back in the heyday. So, you know, is there going to be opportunities to purchase properties? Well, let's talk about the garbage from 2008 that's still out here. Let's talk about shadow inventory. Let's talk about the modifications. Leah, let's talk about 2013, 2014 loan modifications. We talk about that all the time. What's going on with the modifications itself? Because we talked about, you and I talked about at our Boot Camp Expo 2020, 2021, it was going to be an adjustment. That adjustment was only supposed to be those modifications that were failing. Correct?
Right. So, to go figure, HAMP came out in 2009, right? HAMP mod, the way it worked was for the first 5 years, you received a 2% interest rate. This is HAMP. This is not just a regular standard mod. It's a HAMP mod. And then after 5 years, you would stutter step up to the current market rate at the time of your mod approval for the next 5 years. So if your market rate was, I don't know, 4.25%, then you're going to go from 2% up to 4.25% within the next 5 years, because it covers over 10 years. So those people that came to that started getting that graduated interest rate, they can't afford it again. Because what people don't understand, and I'm going to go back old school, guys. HAMP mods, the whole purpose of the reduced 2% was so that if your income could survive your regular mortgage payment, so if your regular mortgage payment, principal and interest, tax and insurance was $1,000 a month, they reduced you down, and then that payment became $600 a month. The bank intended for you to pay your $600 a month and then to pay $400 principal curtailment, so that when the increase started, you weren't fully affected. People didn't do that. People didn't do that at all.